I had never heard of Madeline Murray O'Hare or her family or this story prior to shooting the film. And so I think that's sort of the most important thing, is that for whatever reason we've lost sight of her. And so I think it's important to sort of bring this conversation back into the forefront of the American consciousness. And whatever side of the fence you are on politically, I think this is an interesting, to say the least, moment in our country. And I think this conversation about the separation of church and state is a really important one. I think Madeline, even though she was an atheist, was fighting for people's right to practice whatever they wanted to practice, as long as it was in the privacy of their own home and in their own church. And she would say to everyone, one of her famous slogans was, "Keep the faith, everyone. Just keep it to yourselves."
I love that. That's so, and it's a message that actually can be spent with anything, and not just religion, not just politics,
totally.
Not just anything. How important is that right now?
Well, I think it's supremely important, where I think we see a lot of government regulations being dismantled, where we see sort of an aggressive push to blend personal beliefs with the government. And I think government has a duty to, in our country, to be objective. And, everyone has the right to think the way they want to think, and we shouldn't be forced, whether it's religion or any other kind of point of view, we shouldn't be forced to abide by somebody else's beliefs.
And last question.
Yeah.
This is a story that takes place in Texas, but for you here personally in Austin, for your character.
Yeah.
There's a big piece in Austin that takes place. Can you talk a little bit about the tie that it has down here?
Absolutely. So, even though they weren't from Texas originally, Madeline Murray O'Hare, I play her son, John Garth Murray, they moved their organization, which was called American Atheists, to Austin. And they were actually headquartered in Austin for a long time. And at one point, John Garth, who I play, was the president of American Atheists. And so in 1995, they were living in Austin. I think the house still exists that they were living in. And huge spoiler alert, they were kidnapped from here and went missing, and it later came out were held for ransom in a motel room in San Antonio, and then were brutally murdered and buried in the desert, and their bodies weren't discovered for 5 years. But they were sort of figures in Austin. Everyone knew who they were. They were pretty hated by everyone, but everyone knew who John Garth was, who Robin was, who Madeline was. So they were walking these streets and driving their cars around Austin,
But that just goes back to show you nobody knew about this and why it's so important to get the story out.
Yeah. Well, our attention spans are pretty short these days, and we forget.
60 seconds and we're
Yeah,
done.
it's true. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice
I
to meet
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Take care.